I may have messed up here. And it's too bad. So yes, this is the SDCC exclusive Too Bad from the cartoon collection. And if I was thinking it through, this was one of the times I probably should have bought 2 of them. See, you already know I'm an opener. I'm gonna open this. That's the way it is. I got Tuvar and Badra. As far as I am aware, this is the first time these two have ever shown up, ever. It has not been done as far as I am aware. Maybe it has, but as far as I'm aware, it's always been Too Bad, not these 2 guys. Which then makes us say, I want Too Bad, not these 2 guys. Even though there's this idea in place where, like, since we've never had them, it's a cool idea to have these 2 guys. But let us be honest about the situation here. We're just gonna, like, make Too Bad. But, I mean, there they are. There's the 2 guys. And once I make Too Bad, I'm going to run into a problem. The same problem that has plagued a part of my collection because of Build-A-Figures. If I only get the figures I want in the line, and I don't get all the figures to build a figure, I end up with part of a figure, or parts of figures that just like sit around forever, and there's nothing I can do with them. Then, in a situation like this, if I make Too Bad, the rest of him is just like discarded off to the side and I guess put in a bag or something. I don't know. I don't know what happens to it. I really don't. I'm running circles in my mind as to what would really happen with his parts. Because, like, I mean, I'll deal with it. But it doesn't change the fact that, for whatever reason, I didn't really think this one through. I got 1. Will that matter? Once I make Too Bad, will I even care that Badra and Tuvar even exist? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe I didn't mess up. Because realistically, I'm not going to care about the other 2 people. Maybe I'm lucky not to have hard nostalgia at this point. I don't know. Let's see it. All right. So, here's the box, and it is pretty cool, if I'm being honest with you. I like this right here. This entire overlay is really cool, actually. It's got really solid artwork across all 4 sides of the box. And it's just done very spectacularly well, all adding up to this part right here. The slip over works perfectly, and I really, really, really enjoy it. It is really cool. This is one of the few boxes that I'm probably going to end up keeping and putting on the top shelf. There's Too Bad right there. And of course, if we open it up, which is really cool, we get this awesome image of the 2 men being forced to become one. That is really cool. It works really well. And it very much feels like something we should have seen in the original cartoon. And I'm going to be honest, to my knowledge, I don't remember seeing this in the original series, like where this event happened. Maybe it did. Maybe I'm kind of phasing something out of my mind that I should remember. But there they are. And this is really solid. I mean, it is really cool. This is an awesome box. It just works. Well, let's open that box, because we got to see them. And here they are. Tuvar and Badra. And let me just say, I may have lucked out here. The cartoon collection is fantastic for the nostalgia, and that's a big part of what sells the idea, the nostalgia of selling cartoon figures to us. They're not Masterverse. They're not reimagined concepts in a new toy wave. That's not what they are. They're not classics. They're not modern versions of the original toys. Okay? They're not origins. They're not modern articulation concepts of the original toys. They are, or for that matter, Origins is also a reimagining of toys we never got in the original line, made to seem as if they would have been released in the original line. The cartoon collection sells on the nostalgia of you having seen these characters in the cartoon. He-Man looks like He-Man. Adam looks like Adam. Teela looks like Teela. Cringer, finally, looks like Cringer. These are the concepts that I see in that thing that makes them so good. Because the cartoon line is fantastic. These guys, I don't remember from their episode. If they had an episode, I honestly cannot remember. I'm sitting here racking my brain trying to remember. I know I've seen every single episode, and Too Bad is not coming to mind as something I recognize. And in a way, that might be a good thing. Because I look at both these guys, and while they're fine figures, right? There he is. I personally don't feel like either of these guys stands out as anything I need to be concerned about. Like, if I'm being perfectly honest, one of the things that grabs my attention about this line, and keep in mind, I don't have the nostalgia other people tie to this line. When I grew up, I did not watch He-Man, Masters of the Universe. And because of that, I don't have a tie to it in that way. I'm not concerned about the nostalgia of it. I don't buy them because I remember them, and I don't buy them because they just like take me back to a moment or something like that. That's not what interests me. For me, these are barbarian archetype figures, avatars of the imagination in a series and a mythology that I now, as an adult, have come to truly appreciate and love for what it is. But because of that, sometimes, especially in certain lines like Origins and Cartoon, I cherry pick hard what interests or doesn't interest me. And if I'm being perfectly honest, looking at these two guys, had they released him as a single in a one-pack figure, or him in a single in a one-pack figure, these are not Snake Men. They're not like things that really catch my attention because they're cool monsters, or some concept that I tend to like and appreciate. They're just two guys that on their own are honestly quite forgettable. So they're sold with this. And quite frankly, I now do not feel bad at all about not buying two of them, because after looking at these guys, this is all I want. And with that in mind, there's his arm, there's his leg, there's his head. Thunk. There, thunk. Little tough. Thunk. There's half of him built right there. Let's keep going. Head, thunk, arm, thunk, leg, thunk. Here's his leg. Click. Here's his arm. Here's his head. And that now looks to me like it could have literally come off the cartoon. That looks like something I would have seen in the cartoon. It still doesn't seem familiar to me, but it seems more believable as something from the cartoon line, and it works very well. And if I'm being honest with myself, if I'm being honest with you, if they would have sold this as a standalone single, I'd have bought this. I'd have bought this. It would not have interested me in any way whatsoever to buy these. I don't have the nostalgia of the line. These two guys I didn't necessarily know or care about, or in other words, I was not overly thrilled that this is the first time we've ever got these. It's cool. It's a cool little piece of history to think that you're the first to have these, but it doesn't matter to me that much. He matters to me. He also came with this really cool painting thing, and I think I'm going to try to show this effect. You see that? I think I got the effect showing. The picture changes and kind of like talks, and this is really well done for what it is. For just being a piece of plastic that you can put somewhere and like just really kind of, that'll look good in just like a couple of pictures. Like just putting it there and maybe have something. You can literally get like a mirror on the wall type of situation going from this. Let's talk about something. Now, the only bad thing is exactly what I thought it was going to be. I now have this. All useless. Once I put these guys on the shelf, they're going to go on the shelf as that. Period. They're going to go on the shelf as that. And I don't have the extra pieces to put these on the shelf and this on the shelf because I didn't buy two of them. Had I bought two of them, it would have cost me over $100. I almost skipped on this at a $50 price tag because while I like the novelty of it, I didn't know 100% and had this exact worry before I bought them. What am I going to do with this? I don't know. Now you could say, oh, well, Bill, that's the great thing about Masters of the Universe is you can repurpose these bodies and do whatever you want with them. I can't. I know it seems like you can. But unless you're a collector that buys a bunch of stuff that you don't really need, that's simply not true. I have like 5 different Skeletors, but they're all Skeletor, they're all put together, and they're all not missing anything. You see my dilemma? I don't have extra arms, extra legs. I do have a couple extra heads, but I wouldn't have the arms and the legs, so what would it matter? I could pull this arm and leg off and put it on this body, and then go find a head and have like a weird situation. But like, why? What would that do for me necessarily? Maybe I can make something out of the pieces that I have, but really this is a bit of a problem. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take these, realistically, and I'm going to put them back in the box because that's one of the few boxes that I'm actually holding on to this time. I'm going to keep that box. So I do have somewhere to store them without them like getting in the way. But it doesn't change the fact that I'm now stuck with these extra pieces. That would be the downfall to the figure. Everything else about it is really solid. And for what it's worth, I'm happy to have added it to the shelf. That was the SDCC exclusive, too bad, added to the shelf. I have some things to complain about, but overall, I'm happy to have it.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.